My first exposure to chip carving came about in 1985 when my copy of Fine Woodworking arrived on my doorstep. I thumbed through the magazine as usual and came across an article called Carve Two-Knife Swiss Chip Carving. I didn't read very much of the article because my attention was drawn to the bottom of the page where these pictures of chip carved boxes were displayed. I was amazed at how intricate and delicate these carvings were, that it could all be done by hand, and I knew this was something that I had to learn how to do. I was also pleased that it only requires 2 knives, along with a pair of sharpening stones and some basic educational materials, and I could do the chip carving that I saw in the article. Now I've put together a chip carving kit for you, containing the same materials that I used when I first learned how to chip carve. A book, a teaching video, sharpening stones, the 2 knives that you need, and practice boards. It's all there. Everything to get started and learn proper techniques so you can learn how to chip carve yourself. It wasn't long after I first started chip carving that I began to carve Christmas ornaments for friends and family. At mychipcarving.com, I'll also show you how to chip carve treasured keepsakes like these pegboards you see here. Similar to the box tops that were shown in the Carve article are these boxes that I chip carved. In the next segment I'm going to demonstrate for you how chip carving is done.
To give you a little better feel for what chip carving is like, I'd like to show you the board that I use with my students in classes either online or face-to-face. What we start with is always proper technique in chip carving. You'll find in lesson 101 I demonstrate how to properly hold the cutting knife and the stab knife. So I emphasize proper technique because with proper technique you get consistent chips throughout your chip carving. Now on this practice board where we start, I always start with the 3-corner chip because this is a staple chip for chip carving. You'll see right here a positive 3-corner border that I demonstrated in the upcoming lesson, a negative 3-corner border, zigzag, and a lace border. We cover these borders to start with because they involve some of just the basic techniques of chip carving. And in a few weeks you'll learn how to do this and get some really nice results. From there we move into how to lay out and to chip carve a rosette. This is one style of rosette. There are just literally hundreds and hundreds of different styles of rosettes. Then I show them how to lay out and begin carving a 12-point rosette. We use a compass and a straight edge, and I show them how to draw that, and then we begin carving one section at a time. After we get into rosettes a little bit, then I like to introduce them to a Gothic border, quite ornate, 2 different styles of a Gothic border. We do some lettering, and I find lettering and numbers, they're just wonderful. They personalize your chip carving work, and they stand out and they look so beautiful. In my lessons I'll demonstrate for you and to explain to you how you decide which chips to take out first, and then how you remove those chips one after another. So I'm starting to take out the outside pieces first. Next I'll remove these chips right here. Chip carving is done with only 2 knives, and 1 knife primarily. As you see I'm using here, this is the number 1 cutting knife, and it does 90% of all the work in your chip carving. Now that chip didn't come out quite a bit perfectly, but there it is. Now it's free and it comes right out. Okay, so next I'll move over to the other side and take these chips out. You don't have to be exceptionally strong with this. It's just proper technique and a good sharp knife, and you will get some very clean and crisp chips. Tight grained, and it gives you very smooth inside walls on your chips. Just doing a little cleanup here. Okay, I've removed the background pieces. I can take these two larger chips out next, and then I'll work on these inside pieces. I'm doing all this carving on my lap. You don't need a workbench, which is something I really like. I like to just do it when I'm relaxing. If there's a football game on TV, there's always lots of commercials and lots of plays that you don't need to see. Okay, and two smaller chips are all that remain. If you go to the gallery page at mychipcarving.com, you'll see this item pictured there in the gallery. Now this is a small little toothpick holder, and you can see the pattern that I just showed you how to carve repeated around the four sides of this little toothpick holder, and how it makes such an elegant piece. I added some small chips along the top around the opening out here, and there you have just a wonderful little gift for someone.
The final paragraph in the fine woodworking article that drew me into chip carving reads like this: if you like objects with a handmade look and feel, you'll like chip carving. Machines are often used for in-the-round carving, but Kerbschnitzen is unique. Perhaps the only technique in the woodworker's range of skills that a machine can't duplicate. I hope you'll be encouraged to learn how to chip carve just like I did. Please join me at mychipcarving.com to learn more about the wonderful art of chip carving.